Today's Morphin Network video is sponsored by RangerStop and Pop, which is March 5th to the 7th, 2021 in Atlanta, Georgia, and RangerStop Convention, which is now November 11th to the 14th, 2021 in Orlando, Florida. Go to RangerStop.com for more info. Karen, it's now becoming a tradition around here. So, how's your quarantine life going?
Quarantine is it's been pretty good. I'm in my groove now. I think like the last time I saw you guys, it was the early, like couple months in. But now that it's been some time, I kind of have a routine. I do my thing. I go to the grocery store like once a week. I've got my shows that I watch. My DVR is like full. Like I'm constantly recording stuff, whether it's like new shows or old shows, and just so when I am like able to sit and watch, I can watch TV. And I've cooked a lot of really good home cooked meals. I was like, I don't know what this life is. I've never been home this much in my life. I don't know what this is.
Same here. We do have some viewers. Leo, start off the...
Yes, what is up, everyone? This is Leo, and I'm here with Ryan and the legendary Karan Ashley from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Seasons 2 and 3. Karen, how are you doing today?
I am doing great, man. I'm doing great. Today's a good day.
Yes. Why? Because it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
So, Karen, how did you get started with acting?
Okay.
You know what? I started out young. As you guys know, I think I've told the story a million times. I was in a singing group. And while I was in that group, they had this audition for Sister Act 2. And I always knew I wanted to get into acting. I used to do it when I was in elementary school, high school. Like I was that kid who was in all the plays. I was in all the musicals. I just always wanted to perform. And so when I actually did that audition, just preparing for it and memorizing my lines, and we had to send in like a self-tape, we had to videotape ourselves. I knew at that moment, I was like, I love to sing, but I really love to act. So I told my manager at the time, I was like, you know what, this is a thing. When I graduate high school, I'm moving to LA. I'm gonna, I was gonna go to film school. Like I knew I wanted to be a filmmaker. I knew I wanted to be an actor. And so, moving to LA was obviously, I wasn't rich. So it was obviously something that I had to really think about and consider. And so I said, I'm gonna go to film school in Texas for 1 year. And then that second year, I'm going to LA. That gives me a year to just save and figure it out and all that stuff. And I graduated high school, and literally, I would, Texas is pretty cool because they shoot a lot of commercials there. So I was doing commercials, and I was kind of going. They have at the time, it was like Walker Texas Ranger was there, and I booked a little small part on there. Yeah, it got cut, but it was like I booked it, and I was like so excited. And so it was just like I was kind of getting my feet wet. And a friend of mine called me like literally 2 months after I graduated high school and said, you need an audition for the show. It's called Power Rangers. And I was like, what is Power Rangers? I had no idea. I know that sounds crazy, but I had no idea what that show was. I blame it on wanting to graduate high school. Like I was too distracted with trying to like better my life. So I went to the audition, and I get there, and they're like thousands of people, like literally like, I'd never seen anything like this, and everyone was dressed up in like different colors and karate gis. And I was like, I don't know karate. And she goes, no, you have to be a dancer, martial artist or gymnast. So I was a dancer, and literally I had to wait for hours just to get in there and just like get it. Like literally I had 30 seconds. That is all they gave you. You said your name, you said like the little monologue, and then she was like, dance. And I was like, oh, I've got music. And she's like, no, dance. We don't have a radio. So I was like, I had to hit it. So I always thank God for Crush, because, when you're in a group and you perform live in front of, crowds, and, we had done all that stuff. You learn how to like, just turn it on. You learn how to do it. It doesn't matter where you are. You just learn how to do it. So I was like, all right. So I danced. And I remember though, when I was in that line for hours, there was this guy and he was like, I wish I would have got his name, or like, I wish I would have stayed in touch with this guy, because literally he gave me my Power Rangers education. Like, I was like, I have no idea what the show is. And he was like, oh my gosh, let me tell you. So he was like the Power Ranger expert in the line. And yeah, like he knew everything about Power Rangers. And so when I'm reading my script and I'm like, oh, Kimberly, my best friend, I was like, oh, okay, Kimberly, that's the girl you were telling me about. Okay. So it like all started to make sense. But this guy totally helped me out, because I knew nothing. I just knew that they were in high school. I knew they did karate. I knew they were superheroes. That was it. Like, that was the bare bone basic. So luckily this guy helped me out. But I just knew I wanted it. And the crazy thing was, I auditioned that day. And when I had my 30 seconds, she said, why don't you come back this evening for a callback? And this time I'll tape you. And so I was like, okay, cool. So they were going to take me for producers. And so I'm thinking, I'm going to come back and it's going to be just a few of us. It went from like 10,000 to like 100. There were still like a ton of people there. But what's funny is that, again, when you're like 100 people, you have to wait your turn. So we're just sitting in this room. And I remember it was at this, like, it's like an acting school, like a dance school. So they had, you know how they have like mirrors on the wall and stuff. And so I just remember crawling under a table, because people were everywhere and people sitting on the floor and chairs everywhere. I crawled under the table and I just sat in front of the mirror and I just practiced my lines and practiced my face and practiced whatever. And they taped me. I remember seeing Steve and I remember seeing Johnny. For some reason, they stood out to me. And then I went home and I was like, all right, call me. And like 2 or 3 days passed by and I didn't get no call. And I was like, dang, I didn't get it. Or I didn't I just didn't know what. And I just remember I was asleep and a friend of mine woke me up and she was like, it was like super early in the morning. She was like, Power Rangers is on the telephone. They want you to go to LA. And I was like, what? And I just remember I was like mid-air. Like I just flew out of the bed and I was like, hi, hello, okay, yeah. Like it was instant. And they flew me out that next day. And I went to the airport and Steve and Johnny were there. And then there was a whole group from Florida that had, they had a layover in Dallas and they were there. And then there was another group and we all came together and it was like 15 this time. And I was like, okay, this is your part to get or it's your part to lose. I don't know what these other girls have, but you better do something. And we auditioned that whole day. And then that afternoon we got the part. So it was like 4 days. I became a Power Ranger in 4 days. But I always wanted to be an actor. That's how it got started. That was the big break, because the commercials and all that other stuff, you can do all that stuff forever, but it doesn't mean that, you're going to have a breakout moment. It's really quick. And but Power Rangers was the big break.
Definitely.
And I moved to LA a year earlier than I planned.
I just want to say right now, LA is home to the best basketball team ever. Just saying.
Oh, my husband will kiss you. He's counting down the days. Yes, Kobe Bryant and Magic Johnson are his two all-time favorite people ever. He loved them, and yeah, so I think we're down to 13 days to the NBA season. The 31st, which is our wedding anniversary, is the first Laker game in quarantine. So I'm going to be watching the Laker game for my anniversary.
Actually,
That's the anniversary.
We're going to plan our whole day around when the Laker game comes on.
Actually, technically, they have a scrimmage next Thursday.
Yeah. Well, he'll be watching that, but he's so excited. We're like, please, Rona, don't ruin it. Please, Rona, don't ruin the NBA season. Don't break the bubble, guys. Stay strong.
Please don't Thanos snap this season, please.
Yes! Literally, Thanos straight up snapped to 2020. You put it best. I never thought about it that way. It was like Comic-Con. They're gone.
E3 gone.
Some of my friends are at Comic-Cons this weekend. Austin's at a con, JDF is at a con. They were both texting me today, and I'm like, I can't imagine being at a con until there's like a vaccine. Like, I'm just like, I'm not scared. Like, I'm not one of those people who lives in fear, but I don't want coronavirus. Like, I just don't even want to, like, I don't want to catch it. I don't want to go through any of it. I've had like maybe 5 or 6 friends, a couple family members who've gotten it, and everybody's been fine, but they've got like, it's been a terrible experience. And so I'm like, I don't want to even do that. So I just don't know how, like, I'm like, please come up with a vaccine so that we don't have to not have Comic-Cons in 2021. We have to. We got to get together, right?
Definitely.
I miss you guys.
Ryan's our medicine guy, so he'll keep us updated.
Yes. Oh, Ryan, please send out the like weekly update. I've been watching like the news. Like that's what we like. My husband last night we were laying in the bed and he goes, "What are we gonna do tomorrow?" And I go, "Watch the news," like we do all day. The coronavirus news briefs all day.
Right. Update: they're in trial stage 2 of the vaccine. That's stage 3 itself.
Yes.
So going back to Power Rangers, Karen, can you tell us what the experience was like filming your season?
You know what? It was really cool. The TV show I loved to film because it was very fast paced. Like, it's similar, I guess. I mean, I don't know. A lot of people haven't. It's weird because usually on a TV show, you get an episode and you rehearse it, you practice, and you film, and it takes about a week to get one episode. Well, Power Rangers, we shot an episode. It timed out about an episode every 3 days. So every 3 to 4 days, you'd shoot an episode. But the way they did it is we'd get like a cluster, which is like, it's 4 episodes, 4 or 5 episodes, and you'd shoot it over the course of 2 weeks. So everything in the command center, you'd shoot everything that day. So if it was command center day, we changed clothes 5 times or 3 times, 4 times, whatever it was, you had to change clothes. You had to change, like if you changed your hair, everything had to be perfect. It was so much work for like hair and wardrobe because, you know, who's going to sit there and go, oh, you had these earrings on, or you had, you know, we had all this stuff. But you would do that or you'd shoot. And so I honestly, like, there are times that I get episodes, like when I talk about them, I get them confused only because in my brain, we shot it so out of sequence. Like we might have shot, you know, this episode and then 2 episodes later we were shooting that same thing on the same day. So I hardly ever know what happened completely in that moment. Or when I see an episode, it's like Christmas. I'm like, whoa, that's what that was. like I'm the crazy person who didn't get it. I didn't really like know what the whole plot was. But they would give you like every morning you'd get this, like, it's what they call sides, and it's like this big, you can hold it in your pocket, but it would be all the lines and all the scenes that you had to shoot that day. And it was always like, okay, we got to shoot 15 pages today, or we got to shoot, you know, 20 pages today. And we would just hustle. And like the crew, when we got on the show, they'd been doing it for a year, so they had it down, you know. And so you just make sure you said your lines and make sure you were on your mark. But it was crazy because you had to learn so much in such a short amount of time. I got to where I would just get my sides every morning and I would learn my lines in the makeup chair, because I felt like if I started learning them the week before, you know, things would change and there'd be rewrites. So for me, it was just easier to learn them that day. But it was like the minute I would say it, the next day I would totally forget it. Like it was like short-term memory, like a weird short-term memory thing going on. But it was fun. I mean, the episode, I mean, working on the TV show was super fun. It was like a flash. Like we were just working nonstop.
Count quick shout out to Michael.
What did he say? You're always fighting. You're always fighting well?
Yeah.
Well,
Michael, you don't know how to spell, Mikey. Mikey's over here stalking us and we don't even know what you're talking about.
Matt Howard says, Karan Ashley, how you got the part of your character Aisha from MMPR Yellow?
Yeah, well, I auditioned. You know, at the time, Walter Twee in Austin had left the show, and they, you know, everybody knows the story. It was they left abruptly, and so they had, I think, about a week that they stopped the show, and they had a week to find people. And so they went to Dallas, they went to Florida, Atlanta, I believe New York and LA, and they did a massive, they saw thousands and thousands of people, and they picked all three of us out of Dallas, and that was just a fluke. I think it could have gone either way, but we had something, when we went in that room, we had something. And I later asked Shooky, I said, what was it? Because they put us together as a group. So we actually I got to see what they did in their audition. And I go, what was it about us? And he goes, I just remember you walking in the room and you smiled. And he goes, there was just a level of confidence that you guys had. You weren't nervous. You weren't and we were completely nervous, but I think it was just like adrenaline, And I remember right before we went in, Steve was like, when we say that part, it's morphin time, put your hand behind your back, like you do this thing. And I was like, okay. And me and Johnny were like, okay. Like, I don't know how much of the show they knew, but Steve obviously knew more than we did. And I remember we all had to say our line. It was like, I said mine, they said theirs. And then at the end, we had to go, it's morphin time. And we did that. And the whole group, like the producers were like, yeah. And we were just like, are they supposed to cheer us on? Okay, we got something going here. So we knew that we connected with them, or that they saw something in us. We knew that if nothing else, they at least liked us. So it just depended on what was going to happen.
Karen, you were part of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, which was one of the biggest movies that came out in 1995. Can you tell us the experience of filming the movie?
Yeah, the movie, we actually shot in Sydney, Australia. It was amazing. I describe it the same way every time because that's the only way I can describe it, that it was an adventure within an adventure. Like, I'd never been out of the country. I traveled a lot, but I'd never been to Australia. And Australia is kind of one of those places that I think everyone had, that's a bucket list place. Like, that's a place where you're like, I want to go see koalas, I want to see kangaroos, and you want to go to Australia. There's something about it. And we went, and it was it was Christmas. It was like Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas time. And so it was summertime there, which was, it was hot. It was summertime. And it was just a really cool experience because we'd only been on the show at that point for a month. So it was honestly the first time that you took the whole cast and we were put in this foreign place. And it was the first time that we kind of got the opportunity to even get to know each other. And unlike the movie, unlike the TV show, the movie shot really slow. You would do a scene, we shot that construction fight, guys. I think we were in that hole for 3, maybe 4 weeks. Where if we were shooting the TV show, we'd have shot that thing in a day. They were like, you got 30 minutes. You better know your moves. We're about to come shoot you. In the the movie, we got 100 takes. This director, Brian, really liked to do a lot of takes, and he would shoot so many angles. And so he might be shooting Johnny's fight, but if I was fighting right next to him, I had to be there fighting as well, because you might see my arm or you might see me. So there were so many times that we did that fight 1,000 times. But that was really the first time I felt like, man, I'm ready. I'm gonna I have enough practice. But it was crazy. It was a completely different experience, but it was a lot of fun.
To go forward to the question, now, do you have any fun behind-the-scenes moments while filming the movie? Any fun behind-the-scenes moments, scenes, or experiences?
Yeah, there's a ton. we were 18 years. I was 18 years old. I'd literally just turned 18. Johnny had just turned 18, and in Sydney, Australia, you only have to be 18 to be able to go to casinos and drink alcohol. So we were 21. We were 21, ready to have fun. So everybody was of age. So we had so much fun. And I remember one time, one of the stunt doubles, we used to hang out a lot with the stunt doubles because they were, they lived in Australia, and they would take us around and we would do so much fun stuff. And I remember one of them, I was telling him, I love to dance. I love to salsa dance. I love to just dance, and there, a lot of the clubs was techno. And I have nothing against techno music, but if you have to live through techno or disco for longer than a month, it's a problem. So he ended up, I was just like, I need something else. So they took me to this like, it was like a underground Puerto Rican, like samba, like, I mean, it was literally the size of a closet, and everybody was just in there dancing. So I remember inviting everyone, and all of them came with me one night to that club, and we just had so much fun, and everybody was dancing, and I had this old man that I would dance with every night. He was literally the best dancer in the whole room. But again, like, it was like one of those things where this was the first time we all got to hang out. We all got to be friends, and we all got to like let loose and not be so like on a regimented schedule. And we still had to shoot, and it was still crazy hours. But in movies, you know, you might have a couple days that you didn't have to shoot that day, or, you know, they were shooting other things. And they couldn't just fly us home. So we were just there, you know. We got to live in Australia for 6 months. So it was pretty cool. Awesome. But all my behind the scenes stories, really, they're not kid friendly. So
that's fun.
Like I was, you know, Steve has his new blog, right? So I brought up this whole thing about Steve, and like, he was like, I can't believe we're talking about this. And I'm like, you're an adult now. You can tell them about the go-go boot. You can tell him about that time you got kicked out of the hotel. You can tell him. And he was dying. All that will say, and you have to go and watch. I know you guys are cool, so you got to go and watch Steve's podcast as well, the Fantastic Duo Show. But there's a story about a go-go boot, some girls, Jason Narvey, and him getting kicked out of a hotel. And so if that doesn't make you go and watch it, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm going to tune into that one.
Yes.
Going back to the show real quick, Karen, what was your experience like while working on the show compared to the movie and stuff?
You know, the show, it was very much like a family, like, atmosphere. Like, you had everybody, like I said, everybody had been working there for more than a year on season 1, part of season 2. So it was just a big family fest. And, you know, I think we lived like maybe 10 minutes from set, you know, so it was just very, like, it felt like home. Being in Australia, although it was an amazing experience, but when you start hitting like 3 months, 4 months, and you're just in a foreign country, and you can't just like call your parents because, you know, it's opposite times, or you can't just see your friends or whatever, it was harder. It was like you got homesick, you know. And I remember at one point the producers felt bad for us because we'd shot, I think you guys know, at one point Mariska Hargitay was Dulcia, and we shot the whole, like, where we got our new powers, and we shot this whole thing in this, like, it was almost like a Asian temple, really cool, like, temple looking place. And they ended up not, you know, changing direction. They got a totally different Dulcia, and they ended up building that set where, you know, we fought the rock monsters. And so but we had to shoot all of that over, and so we're just like, you know, in Australia, but it was just one of those things where I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't know that if you didn't like something, or if they test it, they didn't like it, then they come up with something completely different. They build a whole new set. But it seemed like every time they would make these big changes, it got a little better. Like, you know, because I thought that rock monster fight was really cool, and the set, I mean, it was amazing. I mean, it was the size of a Comic-Con. Like, it was huge. And I think the people from like Indiana Jones, or whoever did the set design for Indiana Jones, did that set. So it was off the chain. But yeah, it was completely different. Working on the movie and working on the TV show was completely different. It was like a night and day experience.
So there's a project we want to talk to you about, Karen. It's about a thing called The Order. Can you tell us the update and process about that?
Yeah. It was originally a movie, And I had talked a lot of the cast members into doing a film. And as everybody knows, we hit a huge roadblock with the SAG and with the unions here in LA. And so we had to stop production. We basically didn't even start production. We stopped pre-production a week before us starting to shoot. And since then, it's been kind of, it's almost like one of those things I tell people all the time. And I remember like Nakia and Kat kept telling me at the time, like I was devastated. We were all devastated, but they kept saying there's, everything happens for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. You got to trust it. For some reason, we're not supposed to shoot right now. And so we all just had to like suck it up and move on. But now we've kind of joined forces with another director and another team. And we've actually redeveloped the whole thing. And when I say redevelop, we rewrote the script. I came up with the television show version of this project. So I think I just finished the second episode and starting the third episode, but it's a TV show now. And so it's almost one of those situations where it's like, if we're able to sell it as a television show, it's going to be pretty cool because it's not going to be just a one and done kind of project. It's going to be an potentially ongoing opportunity for all of us. And I still have a lot of the same characters in there. They just come in different ways. And it's similar to, how you have certain shows that have really big casts, but everybody gets their moment. So the storyline may be focused on this group at one point, and then it shifts, something happens, and we're focused on this other group. So it's really given me a little bit more breathing space to be able to write and create for all the different characters and have an opportunity to potentially bring in, the Rangers that you guys know who are attached to the project, but maybe some others, One thing, it was funny because when we first put out that first trailer and we started, trying to raise money for the project, every single Power Ranger called me at one point and we're like, why didn't you call me? And some of them didn't even live in Los Angeles. And I was like, you don't live here and I don't have your number. And I didn't know that you'd want to do it. And it was really, I kind of called the people that I knew well, and I was like, look, it ain't nothing against anybody. If I could have a movie that could hold 100 actors, I would, but it's just not possible. So hopefully this television version gets an opportunity. We are pitching it currently, and it gets a chance to, get picked up, because then I could potentially, if we had multiple seasons, be able to bring different people in. Because the Order's like, they're assassins, they're vigilantes. So people die. Like, it's not like Power Rangers where we bust into Angel Grove and we always defeat the monster and we always, become the heroes. Sometimes not everybody lives through it, and not everybody's a good guy. So it's like, you'll be surprised at the people who are bad guys. But hopefully we get our shot, but we are currently pitching it, and, we'll see what happens. Coronavirus has, stopped almost everything. Yeah, exactly. So we were going to start pitching in January, and then coronavirus hit in March. So everything stopped. And then now, slowly but surely, Hollywood's opening back up, and we're able to try to get some meetings and, but everything's over Zoom. So it's just really weird. It's a really weird time, but pray for us because if it happens, it would be epic.
So people keep your fingers crossed, keep everything crossed, because we kind of want this order to happen. But like a television show version, I think would be so much cooler, because then you can slowly but surely develop an entire story and stuff like that.
I agree. It's one of those things where, like I said, it's not everybody's a good guy, and I think it's very good for. We love our fans, and I know you guys love Power Rangers, but you guys are older. Like, you guys love Marvel. You guys love stuff that's edgier. You love John Wick. So imagine having, action scenes like John Wick, and imagine having like technology like the Looper. Imagine having like this, a little bit future forward action kind of drama, and seeing people, in a totally different light. That's one thing that I always said, Power Rangers, it was great, but that's one facet of what half of the actors can do. Like, you guys know Jason Narvi and Paul and Nakia, and I mean, you guys know all these guys. They know, I mean, their level of talent is like through the roof. So, Power Rangers only tapped into like one little piece of us. I wanted this project I want this project to bring out that like something you've never seen.
So since we're on the topic of like of everyone every actor and actress, can you give any advice for any person who's trying to break into Hollywood to become an actor and actress? Because we know Hollywood is a cutthroat industry. So do you have any advice to those who are trying to get into that industry?
Yeah, my biggest advice is that I think a lot of people, they go, oh, I've got the talent, I want to do it. And my advice to you is, all of that's great, but go to acting class. I don't care if it's like, a $20 class, or if it's, you go to like college and you study acting. I mean, it doesn't matter. I think what's important is to just be in the mix of working with other actors and be in the mix of, because I'm telling you, when I had those auditions, all that practice, I mean, I'd gone to acting class, I'd gone to dancing classes, I'd gone to, like when I was in Crush, it was like boot camp. Like they gave us, training when we did, interviews. It was like we had everything that we had to do in order to come be a performer and turn it on. We needed to turn it on. And I remember we were doing this show and our manager purposely like pulled the plug on the music. And he did it because he was like, you need to know what to do if that music turns off. The show must go on. And I don't care what happens, you still got to perform. And so whether you got a mic or don't have a mic, you better keep singing. But I think that's what acting class does. It really gets you ready for that moment. So when you walk in that room and you have, a producer sitting in front of you, you know how to turn it on. You know how to look them in the eye. And that's exactly what Shuki had said. He said, we were confident in a different way. And I think it was because we were like, we looked them square in the eye and we were like, at that moment, I became Aisha, Steve became Rocky, Johnny became Adam. And their athleticism was off the chain. Like, you see them on Power Rangers doing these flips. They were doing those kind of flips in an office boardroom. Like it didn't matter that there was like a table right there. They were flipping through the air, So I think that's what it is. You gotta be prepared and you gotta be rehearsed. And a lot of that technique comes in class. So get in class, no matter what.
Here, guys, go to school and get in class. Good from Nakia.
Stay in school, kids. Stay in school.
So Karen, I have one last question before we go to the fans. Besides the order, do you have any upcoming projects that you would like to share to your fans? Any upcoming projects?
You know what? The order has sucked up my entire life. Because I just feel dedicated and it's mine, and so I'm like, we're gonna get this thing done. And I promised the fans, I said, we're going to either get it shot. Hopefully, if we're able to, we have this opportunity to pitch and try to get it as a television show. But if not, I'm going to shoot it and I'll premiere it here on your show. I mean, I don't know. I'll premiere it on Facebook. Like, we're going to get this show done. And so that has kind of sucked up my life. But the other thing that sucked up my life is RangerStop and Pop. I had a bright idea of like, hey, guys, let's start a Comic-Con. And I don't know what I was thinking. Like, it was like 2 years ago. We were all, or 2, maybe 3 years ago, and we were all at New York Comic-Con. And I said, we should do it. We could do it. Come on. And we talked Mikey into doing a show in Atlanta. And it's been going great. And we're super excited to hopefully do the show in 2021. If coronavirus doesn't stop us, we'll be there. But we just want to make sure we have a safe environment for everyone. And I don't want it, like, I was thinking about it. I was like, I would hate it if we like had plexiglass and people are coming up and like, I was like, that's not a Comic-Con, so we got to figure out what we're going to do. And hopefully there's a vaccine or there's something that comes out. I know the pharmaceutical companies around the world are working to solve the coronavirus problem, but we'll see. But that's the other project that I'm doing, which is, and then I'm always doing all kinds of other stuff. Like literally every month somebody calls me and says, hey, do you want to do this? And some stuff I say yes to and some stuff I say no to, but there's some really cool stuff that I'm kind of working on I can't talk about, but You'll find out. I'll let y'all know.
So we now that's the 10-question part of this live stream. We go to some fan questions. So Karen, are you ready for them?
Yes.
All right. So Edward Sanchez, what is your favorite memory from filming Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie?
Favorite memory, I guess I really liked filming I liked filming that fight in the construction site. Like I told you, we were there for weeks, but I really liked it. I thought that action scene looked so cool. I thought, because it was us, it was always like we took so much pride in doing our civilian fight because we could never be doubled. So that was the time we got to add all the tricks and the flips and all the stuff, and that was us. So I really love doing that. So I think that's probably my favorite scene from the movie.
I was gonna say I'm a stickler for fight choreography, and I would say that your movie had some very, very impressive fight choreography.
Yeah, what's funny is that was like we really got to add stuff. I remember they had like something for us to do, and it was kind of the skeleton. But we got to add things, and we got to really work with the stunt team. And that was the same stunt team that we worked with on a television show. Luckily, they brought the guys over, and they were so open. And the guys, they're like black belts. Like I remember Johnny and his they went and rehearsed at the actual site for weeks, and came up with all these tricks and stuff. And so it was like everybody was really working hard and really preparing, but it was very, very cool.
Mike Perez, are you still doing music?
No, I mean, not professionally. Like my husband's a singer, and so I sing. My sister sings. Like we always all sing, and we got this whole joke. Like, do you got your note? It's like we'll hit a harmony, or we'll try to bust something out. And I'm a really like if you ride in a car with me, you're gonna get a whole concert. It's gonna be off the chain. But no, I don't sing. I mean, I've sung at some auditions and I've done stuff like that, but I don't sing professionally, and that's a different beast. I think when I realized producing and acting was my thing, I just dove right into that. And maybe one day I'll have to sing again, and I'll have to vocalize and warm myself up. But no, I don't sing professionally anymore.
Kim Brown, if you could tell Tui anything, what would it be, and what would you think she'd tell you?
Oh man, I wish I could tell her how much. Well, I know she knows this. I'd say this all the time. Every weekend I'm at a Comic-Con, we talk about Tui. Every weekend. So in my mind, and the way that I think and where I am spiritually, I know she's there with us. I just would like to tell her, I would tell her how much you guys love her, because it's like we talk about her all the time. And I remember coming on the show, and I remember, they gave me my yellow costume, and inside it said Tui. So I literally stepped into her shoes. Like I remember her foot was like maybe a half size bigger than mine. I'd always have to wear thick socks but I was like wearing her same costume. We met briefly once, but it was like maybe 2 weeks after they had left the show. So it was like we were both like, hi, but it was just the most awkward time. Like, here's the girl and I think the person who was like, hey, this is Karen, she took your place. And it was like, like, why, it was just like, we were both like, hi, nice to meet you. Oh, and then it was it, I wish I would have had an opportunity to really get to know her, because literally I've never heard one bad word about her, and I came on the show right after they left, and it wasn't a situation that was, it was a contentious situation. They deserved more money, and them leaving actually helped us get a better deal when we came on the show. So it was almost like, they made this huge sacrifice, and we benefited from it, So I would just like to tell her thank you, and I would just like her to know how much you guys love her, because I mean, literally every weekend we talk about her.
Carol Dick says, hey Karen, what's your favorite episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
I change this all the time. I literally do. Like I'll say one, and then like someone will talk about one, and I go, oh yeah, that one was really cool. I think I like. Recently, I've been hearing about like the episode where Scorpina was on there. I saw a clip. Somebody tagged me in that clip where I'm like, I knew something was wrong with you because of your outfit or something. Like, I just thought that was so funny. I like the fact that Aisha knew this girl was not right for Adam, and she was like, something's wrong with her. And like every typical guy, he was like, no, I love her. You know. So this week, I don't even know what that episode is called, but this week that's my favorite episode.
I have a question real quick, Karen. So do you know that they brought Rocky, Aisha, and Adam into the comic books?
Yes.
What's your thoughts on that?
I love it. I love what they've done. Like, one thing I will say is that I like the story better. I like the comic book version better of how, you know, the Omega Rangers and then the new team comes and we're in. And I like how they show that it's not an easy transition. It was almost like on the TV show, we became Power Rangers and then it was like we'd always been there. You know, it was almost like, but I mean, is that realistic? Like, you're now at a new school. You're now with new friends. You have the pressure of having to save the world. You know, I really like how in the comic book they really humanize us, and we struggle with that responsibility. And I think any teenager would struggle with that type of, you know, that's heavy. Like every week you save the world every week. Like,
you gotta save the world.
So I really love.
You gotta get grades.
Yeah.
You gotta take out the trash.
I love it, and it's always was fascinating to me that we'd be gone for days, and I'm like, who are our parents? Like, Zordon must have them under a spell because my mom would not let me hang out with all these boys, and like I never come home. Like, where are our parents?
Well, it's cool that you're saving the world. But you haven't taken the trash out in the last 2 days. Go take it out, because I ain't for play right now.
They didn't know we were saving the world. So I don't know. I love what they're doing. I love what Boom's doing. Brian, Kyle Higgins. I mean, it's like they're television writers. Like, they actually have written for, you know, TV shows, and they've written movies. So their writing is like next level. And I tell Hasbro people all the time, they need to hire them to write the TV show, because I think it's time. I think it's time that Power Rangers turns and gives you, because you can still be edgy and still be kid appropriate. And so I think it's time that they do that, but no one listens to me. I actually have an episode of Power Rangers, a reunion episode. I have it laid out. I could write it in a week. And it's a really good idea. They need to call me. The fans would be so happy about this version because the people who come back would actually be intertwined in helping that team find themselves and find that hero inside of them. And that's all I'm giving you. But Hasbro, I've got a 2-parter that would, I mean, the fans would lose it. Lose it.
So Hasbro, you know, you can call Karan Ashley, you know, cut her check.
I'm too expensive for them, I think.
Work out the deal, Hasbro. You make a boatload of money.
Work it out, Hasbro.
Figures.
You got $6 billion. I don't need $1 billion. I don't need nothing like that. I just want fair wage. 2-parter.
You make so much money off Transformers. Just saying, you should probably call Karan Ashley for pay. We love you, Hasbro, but we know.
They need to give Power Rangers that kind of attention because, I mean, the fan base is there. It would be ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh, Mikey.
What's your favorite nickname? What?
You know what Mikey calls me? He calls me Sharon because he loves Cher, and he put Karen, so it's Sharon. Sharon is my nickname that Mikey gave me. But I like Care Bear. My family calls me Care Bear. It's funny because when I was a baby, my nickname was Pooh Bear. And so I would tell everybody I'm Pooh Bear. Like, they'd say, "What's your name, little girl?" And I'd be like, "Pooh Bear," you know? So me becoming the bear on Power Rangers was almost like it was meant to be. I was always the baby bear. I was always Pooh Bear. So Care Bear, Pooh Bear, Sharon. Nakia calls me Kanisha. Like, we've got so many nicknames. It's ridiculous. But you know what? I told him to stop calling me Karen because I'm social distancing from Karen. I don't want to be known as any of those women. So you can call me Ashley. I am not a Karen. Not until Rona's over.
Your name's spelled differently. It's okay. Listen, I've gone after them. I'm at war with them. You're okay. You're fine.
We've all yelled at the Karens in the world, right?
The Karen wars are going, but you're fine, Karen. You're okay. You are fine.
You guys know Dane. He's the DJ at RangerStop, and
Yeah.
you know Dane. I had said that on Facebook or Instagram or something. And he was like, Karen with an A is a national treasure, and Karen with an E sucks or something. And I was like, okay.
Once again,
I'll take it.
Once again, the Karen wars are going, but don't mess with Karen Ashley, people. She's okay. The other Karens have your go.
I actually fight for injustice. Like, if I see a Karen, I'm all up in her face. Like, look here, lady, leave them alone.
No one wants to talk to their manager. Chill.
Right. I want to be like, I didn't have a Karen, but I had what they call the guy version, the Kevin. I had one of those in the post office the other day. And I literally had to like yell at him because he was yelling at this poor lady. Like, I guess at the post office, like right now, if you don't have, like, they have signs everywhere and it says if you don't have exact change, then they're not going to give you change because of the money. And like, you know, it's like, I don't know. I think because of coronavirus, they're trying to keep everything legit. And I think this guy owed them like $1. Like, it was something, I don't know what it was, but you know how like, if you don't have something, they say, okay, go over there, figure it out, and then come back. But they start helping other people, right? So they're helping other people. And like this woman, she's like doing her thing, mailing her package or whatever. And this guy just walks up and he just like, there was no social distancing. Like, she was like, if she'd have turned, he was like right there. And she kindly, like, me and this other girl, we were standing there watching everything. She kindly said, sir, can you just wait until I'm finished? I really am trying to social distance from people. You know, I don't want to be, I have pre-existing conditions. I don't really want to be that close to someone. And this guy starts like cussing her out and like yelling at her. And I'm like, standing there and I'm like, hey, like, I don't even know where this boy, like, I just started screaming at him like I was his mama or something. And I was like, hey, I was like, I just like jumped into the fight and was like, but he got quiet. Like, they both quieted down because it kind of started an argument. And I just was like, look, dude, we all, like, if nothing else, we have to be considerate of other people. So whatever your parents taught you, whatever manners, right now, we got to be patient and we've got to be considerate. If someone asks you, oh, you're too close, be kind and go, oh, I'm so sorry. And just step 2 steps back or whatever. It's not that big a deal. And he was so mad at me and he was so mad at her. But he ended up just like throwing the dollar. Like, he was rude to the guy. He was rude to her. He was rude to everybody. And I just remember going, gosh, like, what does this world come to? Like, we need to, if nothing else, this is the time that we need to be nicer to each other. You know, that we're dealing with heavy, heavy things. So be nicer to people. That's the moral of the story. Otherwise, Karan Ashley will be there to yell at you.
So in other words, people out there in post office, chill out. Right?
People at the post office.
So
Good.
John Swanson, what was it like working on Hang with Mr. Cooper?
Oh, it was so cool. I was a huge fan of that show. And it was weird because remember when the episode happened where we became kids? I think it was like at the start of that, we had like 2 weeks off. We'd never had 2 weeks off. And so my agent called me and was like, hey, you're off 2 weeks. There's this audition for Hanging with Mr. Cooper. And I didn't think I'd get the part. I went in and I ended up shooting it during that break. And I was just like, whoa, what timing. But it was amazing. I was a huge fan of the show. I love Holly Robinson. I later got to meet her and like have friends, mutual friends. And she was a beautiful person then. She's a beautiful person now. So I learned so much working on that show. Like it's like comedy, like it was a whole different thing from Power Rangers. So it was very cool.
Mikey, really?
He's so stupid. Call Karen. Her number is 555. You see why Mikey and Nakia and I are partners, because we literally laugh all day long. Like there have been times that Mikey and I will get on Nakia's nerves so bad because we'll start having like a conversation, but with only gifts. And so we'll like have this full conversation just with gifts. We won't say a word. And she's like, oh my God, you guys are stupid. But we live to just make each other laugh.
That happens on our group chat. Ryan will sometimes recently Ryan's been sending them like Kingdom Hearts gifts, and I'm like, if you don't leave me alone with Kingdom Hearts, I know where you live. Keep that in mind.
Everybody has their thing though. You gotta laugh, right? And so it's like if you can't make your friend laugh, then what are you doing in this world?
Definitely. We'll do a few more, guys. Bobby Shadow says, what do you think Aisha would be doing today? And are you a fan of the complete time shenanigans that result in your character getting written off the show? Oh my God.
I was not a fan of how Aisha got written off at all. I remember I had asked to leave the show, and they said, okay, we're going to do like a 10 episode, like we're going to gently write you off. And they'd done that with Amy, and they'd done that, you know. So I thought, okay, this is what they're going to do. And we'll like explain why she leaves. And literally the next time I was on set, that was my last day. It was just over. It's how they do it in Hollywood. Like sometimes that's just how they do it. And it seemed like I got the shaft, you know, Steve got the shaft, David got the shaft. Like they never really, you know, and what makes me like, I guess what always upset me about that is, you know, fans love characters for a reason. Like there are people who identified with Aisha, and I thought she deserved to have a better send-off. It didn't happen. But I think if I jumped forward to the future, I've always said this, Aisha is currently on tour. You guys know her as Beyonce. And, you know, she's just living her best life. She's living her best life. You know, she's married to Jay. She's doing her thing, you know? They live in Wakanda. You know,
This is
like,
officially
we're going to send her to
canon.
Africa. She's living in Wakanda.
Okay, so Hasbro and Boom Studios, this is officially canon that Aisha is Beyonce, and somehow Wakanda exists. They got through with the Marvel issues. Marvel's like, okay, you can use Wakanda just for her story. That's it. We're saying it's canon. Our boy Mike, this is canon. Don't worry about it. Don't ask questions. It's canon. There you go.
Yes, she's disguised as Beyonce. So that's Aisha.
All right. Ever Sanchez, what's your memory of filming the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie?
Favorite memory? Another one. Let me think. I remember doing the parachute scene, and I was the only one who had to go after dinner. So like I did one take, and it's like flip, flip, flip. We're like green screening, and we're on wires. So you like flip, 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 and then you kind of pose, and then flip, 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 and then I threw up. I only did 2 takes because I was throwing up my dinner.
Oh God.
I'm easily nauseous, guys. I'm easily nauseous, even back then. Car sick. It's like any motion, I'm done.
Dave Bobby has with cash and product. LOL.
Yes, Dave. You guys go check out his con. It's next year. Mountaineer. I think it's Mountaineer Comic-Con. I hope I'm saying that right. Dave is one of our sponsors at RangerStop and Pop, RangerStop Orlando, and now he's doing his own con, which is, we're so proud of him. It's amazing. He's got an amazing guest list. Like, I mean, it's not just Power Rangers, it's a pop show. So check him out. And if you need a helmet done, he is the guy. Legendary Props. He does some of the best helmets, and you don't have to wait a year to get them.
Here's one. Oh, I got one. This how was your experience filming Ninja Quest?
Didn't see it.
Ninja Quest. That was the power. That was the TV show version of us getting our ninja powers. Correct?
Yeah.
It was weird. It was interesting, but it was weird because we had just explained that in the movie, and then they redid it. It's so weird. People always ask us, like, why did they tell the story twice? But what it was like, Saban did the TV show, and 20th Century Fox did the movie. And the movie just went on and on and on and on forever. And I really think at the end of the day, Saban and the TV show writers weren't really happy with the way that they told the story of how we got our ninja powers. So we redid it. And there was like Ninjor, and there was all this other, So it was really interesting because it was like almost, it contradicted what the movie told everyone. But it was two separate teams. So I guess they were like, no, we're going to do it our way and we're going to do it different.
So once again, the Power Rangers movie is a different Earth. It's Earth 95.
Alternate dimension? I don't know.
So Earth R1 is the main Power Ranger TV show. Earth 2 is Power Rangers RPM. Earth 3 is Dino Charge. 95 is your movie. Earth X is the fan-made movie that came out a few years ago. And am I forgetting anyone?
No.
No? Okay. Earth 6 is the new movie the 2017 movie that came out.
Yes, which I really like the backstory stuff. I love that Zordon was a Power Ranger, and I loved Rita was a Power Ranger. So I loved all that. I thought that was really cool.
Hi guys, hi Karen. We had you in Peru for Comic Con. You saw us meet you. You're sweetest. Aww.
We had so much fun in Peru. Like me and David Fielding, we went. I want to go to Peru again. It's an amazing, beautiful. It was beautiful. Like we went to this one part, and it was like Santa Monica, like cliffs and ocean. I had no idea that it was an oceanside city. It's gorgeous if you ever get a chance to go to Peru. And the people are amazing. They've got this really good chicken that you can eat. The seafood is off the chain. Ceviche. Everybody tells you eat ceviche, so it's so good. Yeah, Peru is amazing.
Bye, Mikey.
Yeah, you're always fighting evil space aliens and monsters.
Always fighting evil space aliens and monsters. Do you believe they are real? Michael, I actually do believe that there are things we don't understand. Whether aliens are real, whether there are just things we don't understand. I just believe that is possible. I don't think that God created Earth and then there are all these other planets just like hanging out and, what is the point of that? And yeah, so I know when they came up, if they're here, if aliens are amongst us, they're like, we got to leave because they got coronavirus all over this place. This ain't where we need to be. Let's come back in like 3 years when they get it together.
Postpone the new season of Earth. Let's go to the one that moons on Neptune.
There you go. Exactly. Like
Superman out.
Oh my god. Yeah, they're
call legendary props. No, seriously, like he does great helmets. And people ask me all the time. I get messaged that so much, like, where can I get a helmet? Legendary props. Get a helmet from them.
All right, since you're being the last person, Carol, last question. Karen, what's your favorite monster?
Favorite monster? I don't know. I'm old school. Like, I like the putties. I like Lord Zed. I thought he was super scary. And then, like, the movie version was, like, 7 feet tall. So it was just crazy. But, I mean, it was, like, there were so many monsters. I kind of stick to Goldar, Lord Zed. Like, those were the dopest,
And one more greeting from I think Vietnam. Hey Karen, it's an honor meeting you this year. You are amazing and a blessing. Aww.
Thank you. I know I've met so many people. I'm so like lucky to see these people on social media and then actually get to meet them. It's like, it's the best.
Awesome. All right, guys. So this actually have spent the time. Thank you so much for being part of this special interview. Karen, thank you so much. It was an honor. So, Karen, where can you find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram at Karan Ashley, on Facebook at official Karan Ashley. I don't really tweet, so Instagram and Facebook are the best places to find me.
And Leo, my partner.
You can find me on the Earth. I'm joking. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram at @the_Reckless_Fox, YouTube Reckless_Fox, and find all my latest gaming content on Twitch.tv/RecklessFox. If you want more, if you want a little more content, myself and two of our members of Morphin Network, we do our own video game podcast. So find us on SoundCloud.com/StrugleGaming for more details. Ryan, where can they find you?
Instagram, DancerBoy247, where I actually post some dance videos. So yes, I used to be a dancer. So again, guys, thank you guys so much.
You could be a Power Ranger. And you could be a Power Ranger. You've got the qualifications, guys. Come on.
I'm gonna shoot for the next audition. So.
And then I'll come in and write the episode of a lifetime. We're gonna win an Emmy.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. And again, thank you. And go Lakers. Bye, guys.
Go Lakers.
Laker house, baby. Laker house. Deuces.
Deuces.